Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for listening to talk about it with Andy. That's me, Andy. I just want to say thank you for everybody that watched my upload yesterday. And although there weren't a lot of comments on it, I did get a lot of people that messaged me personally. And I just really appreciate all of you guys for sharing your thoughts and sharing your experiences and how less alone you felt after you listened to that. That really means the world to me. And I really appreciate it so very much. Before I get into what I want to talk about tonight, I do want to say, I had a really good day today. I didn't think I was going to have a good day today. I thought I was going to be sad all day, and instead, I went out in nature, a hike in the woods by the water, and I felt really at peace. So, newsflash, if you feel like you're going to have a bad day, maybe just go out into nature, and you might end up having one of the best days you've had in a while. So tonight I want to talk about something that's really important to me, and that's boundaries. Um, it's extremely important to me, and I feel like it's important. It should be important to everyone because it's such a big thing. I'm going to talk about it tonight, and I'm also going to talk about it tomorrow night. Um, I'm going to do a couple of things, touch a couple of things on it tonight, and touch a couple more things on it tomorrow night. So tonight we're going to talk about boundaries with ourselves, boundaries with our friends, and boundaries with our romantic partners. And then tomorrow we'll talk about boundaries with our family and boundaries in the workplace. And anything that might fall into that. We'll see tomorrow. We'll see what I say tomorrow. But tonight we're gonna start off by talking about boundaries with ourselves. But before I get into it, I want to challenge anybody who's listening to this. What do boundaries mean to you? Do you think they're important? What does that look like in your eyes? How does it feel when your boundaries are compromised? Do you compromise other people's boundaries? Do you feel justified in doing so? So, getting into personal boundaries, or actually boundaries in general, I just want to say, this isn't something that I got overnight. I actually didn't start establishing boundaries in my life until I was around almost 21. Actually, I think I might have been 21. Growing up the way that I did, there wasn't a lot of room for establishing boundaries. It was more of like, this is how it's going to be, and you're going to have to adjust. And, I grew up thinking that that was normal, and that's the way that life happened. And if I needed to provide something, I should just do it because someone wants me to do it. Um, and I didn't grow up feeling like my needs were important. My needs, wants, desires, the things that made me uncomfortable, the comfort that I needed to have. I didn't grow up feeling like any of those things were important. So as I grew into an adult, I still believed that those are just things I had to do for myself and I needed to figure it out. And if something came in the way of that, don't stop what's coming, just work around it. So with placing boundaries with myself and, ourselves individually, the first thing to think about is what do you need? What needs are you meeting for yourself every day? What needs and desires do you have that you can give to yourself? A lot of people fall into codependent patterns because they're not giving themselves what they need. And sometimes what we need is harsh talks. Sometimes what we need is to hug ourselves. Sometimes what we need is to do some self-care. And sometimes what we need is to really think about how we're going to change behaviors that we have towards ourselves and towards others. So getting into that specifically, of the codependency. A lot of people believe that, codependency happens because you just get so attached to someone and, then you're like, we just love them so much and that's how it is. But that's not really the truth. When you're establishing boundaries with yourself, it's not just so that you can protect yourself, but it's also so that you can protect other people. If you're recognizing patterns in yourself to where you're attaching to people really easily and you're requiring more from them than they can give, or more from them than you would give to them, then those are personal boundaries that need to be set within you. Maybe you can't, you know, hang out with someone 5 days in a row because you will become extremely attached to them. Maybe you can't receive that comfort from someone because you will feel that way about them. Maybe you can't go on dates with do casual dating because you feel that way, or, vice versa. Maybe a relationship isn't for you, and just so many different things that you could think about when it comes to establishing personal boundaries within yourself when it comes to other people. But it's not just that, it's also accepting. What are you willing to accept from yourself? Are you taking care of your health? Are you taking care of your hygiene? Are you taking care of your finances? What are you doing for yourself? And what boundaries are you placing with yourself so that you can make sure that you're the healthiest person that you can be? Really think about that. It's super important that we look internally into who we are and how we treat ourselves, because that is a big indicator of how we treat other people. Speaking of other people, we're going to move on to friendships. Friendship boundaries are such a tricky topic because each friendship is very specific and very different. And the boundaries that you have established also depend on the boundaries with yourself and the boundaries with, if you have a partner at the time, you and your partner. But they're still important. So for me specifically, like I said in my first upload, I didn't grow up with like a lot of friends. So when I started to have friends, have people in my life, it was a very surreal thing to me. And in my mind, I was like, I do not want to lose these people because I will have no one again. I, these people know me, kind of, they kind of accept me. I don't want to lose them. So I did everything I could. I compromised my own boundaries. I showed up for them when I couldn't even show up for myself. And I did a lot of things that, I, looking back, I wish I would have given a second thought, just because I wanted to be there for them. Anytime they needed me, I was there. I would lose sleep for my friends. I would skip class when I was in high school. I would luck out on opportunities to make my friends happy. All of these different things because I wanted to keep the friendship that I had, because I cared so deeply for them. I cared so deeply for what they gave me. I cared so deeply for what I could provide them that I didn't want to lose it. And I thought the only thing I could do is just do whatever they wanted. And that just isn't healthy for a couple of reasons. It's not healthy because it's not real. That's not a realistic friendship. That's not a realistic relationship. That's not even a realistic relationship with yourself. Um, it's something that I was using as a coping mechanism to avoid the fact that, hey, maybe I'm not okay and I'm looking for other people around me to make me feel normal because I'm not okay with who I am inside. And the other reason that's, another reason that's not okay is a lot of those friends that I was doing those things for would not do it for me. So when it comes to friendships, it's very different from a family relationship. It's very different from a partnership. Your friends are only supposed to be around in your life to care about you and to love you and to have fun with you. That's what friendships are about. That is, those friends that you have, those are not your partners. You do not have a responsibility to them at all. So if they're in your life and they're causing you pain and they're causing you grief and they are not showing you love and care the way that you're showing it to them, those aren't good friends. And, it sounds corny, to say, those aren't good friends, but really they're not. They're not people that you should be having in your corner. Um, because they're people who are going to bring you down, and they're people who are going to make you feel less than you are and less deserving of what you do deserve. I had a friend who I'm still friends with her now. I am. But we're not as close anymore. And I still love her so much. So much. Unbelievable, an unbelievable, astronomical amount. Um, However, I don't talk to her very often, and I won't make time to see her. I won't make time to visit her. And I'm loving her from a distance because I know that she deserves love and I know that she deserves compassion and kindness. However, maintaining our friendship was becoming very difficult on my mental health, and I was sacrificing a lot of who I was and what I felt I was worth because she wasn't giving me the same care, kindness, and compassion back. She wasn't treating me with, like, cruelty, but she wasn't being a friend to me in the way that I was being a friend to her. And after 4 years of me scrounging, for anything I could find to keep our friendship alive and keep our connection relevant and be there for her and want her there for me, one day it dawned on me that, if she wanted to be friends with me the way that she says she did, she would. She would have. She would have been there for me. When I was going through extremely difficult times, she would have been there for me the same way that I was there for her. I dropped everything for her anytime she asked, and never once did she do it for me. And that's okay, because she's not responsible for me, because that's not what friendships are about. So, I placed a boundary between us, and I love her, and if she ever truly needed something, I would be there for her. But I don't allow it to affect me as deeply as it did before. And I will always feel, strongly about it and about her, but I feel so much healthier knowing that I can love her from a distance and I can still love her. And it's not selfish and it's not mean and it's not rude. It's kind and it's compassionate. And if she really, really did need me and I could be there for her in a healthy way, I'd be there. So, really think about, who are the people that you have in your life? Are they there for you the way that you're there for them? Are you compromising boundaries that you're placing within yourself to make them happy and to make them feel more comfortable? Are you being your truest self around them? Do you feel comfortable being who you are around them? And if answers to those questions are no, then why are they friends? Why are they in your life? Why are you putting yourself through more than you should? Lastly, I want to talk about boundaries with your partner. Every boundary that every relationship that you have is going to have different boundaries, and different partners are going to want different things. But there's one thing that a lot of people, I feel like they don't think about when it comes to having a healthy relationship. Your partner is supposed to be there as well. It is okay for you to take care of them, but they also have to take care of you. And that doesn't always mean the same thing. That doesn't always mean that it has to look the same, but the love that you're showing, it has to be reciprocal. And there's a lot of arguments that come into those things, like, some people they love differently, and some people just can't do this and they can't do that. And that's understandable. Loving someone differently is still loving someone. And if the effort isn't there, that's definitely a conversation that needs to be had. I'm going to speak personally for myself. And I've only been in a couple of relationships, serious relationships in my life. And in those relationships, I found myself trying to compromise for what they were lacking uh, within themselves. And I wasn't placing boundaries with my partner because I didn't feel like I had the right. I felt like, well, if I'm in a relationship with them and I'm planning on pursuing a future with them, I should just be making them happy. And that's what's important. And then maybe one day they'll start doing the same. But that's unrealistic. When you place a boundary with someone, regardless of who it is, whether it's your partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's your family, that boundary should be respected if you're placing it with somebody who loves you and respects you. And if that's not what's happening, then you should really think on who you're spending time with and who you're wanting to plan a future with. each and every one of us deserves somebody who loves us for who we are and wants to put forth that effort to love us and to show us kindness and to show us compassion and to respect our boundaries, whatever they look like. Whatever they look like. And that could be from, hey, I don't want you wearing your shoes in my house, to, hey, maybe I don't like to be touched on my shoulder. Things like that that are so important to us should also be important to our partners. And if your partner doesn't care and isn't remembering those things, isn't taking into account of how they affect you, then that is your boundaries being compromised. And is that something that you're going to put up with forever? It used to take me a long time to get out of relationships and, situationships with people who would compromise my boundaries and even friendships. And the minute that I recognize, like, if they're compromising my boundaries right now and they're doing things that are disrespectful and unkind and hurtful to me right now, they're going to continually do them in the future. People will show you who they are. They will tell you who they are. They will do these things to you and then look you in the face and tell you that they're sorry and do it again. And if you're not paying attention, you'll believe them. But if you can recognize the patterns in the beginning, then it's going to be much easier to let go of somebody who does not respect you. So, a lot of what I've been talking about when it comes to boundaries is other people coming, for us, maybe not giving us. But also, what are we doing to people? Are we respecting when people tell us, like, hey, I don't want to spend time with you today? Are we telling them, like, oh, that's fine, or are we getting mad at them? Are we respecting when someone says, hey, my partner doesn't think we should be friends anymore because of whatever reason? Are we being spiteful about it, or are we respecting that they're establishing a boundary? Are we doing what we want people to do to us? The golden rule, is treat other people how you should be treated. So if you're respecting other people's boundaries, then in turn they should respect yours. And one can't exist without the other in a healthy way. So while you're looking towards if people are doing it for you, also make sure that you're doing it for them. Um, every last one of you that is listening, and myself also included, deserves kindness, respect, love, compassion, and if people in your life aren't giving you that, they don't deserve to be in your life. They definitely don't deserve to be in mine. I want to thank you if you made it all the way to the end of this video, and again, like you guys did yesterday, definitely send me personal messages if you have stuff you want to talk about. I'm always here. I adore you all. Comment underneath and I'll respond to you if you want other people to interact as well. And I hope you guys have a great morning, afternoon, night, whatever time you're listening to this, and I will see you tomorrow.